Hi, now in this video lecture we will go through topic covalency. Covalency, variable covalency and maximum covalency, right? Like in electrovalent compounds, we have seen that electrovalency is equal to the number of electrons that are transferred, right, in the formation of electrovalent bond. Similarly, in covalency, in covalent compounds, the covalency is the valency of elements in covalent compounds, first of all, right? So this covalency is equal to the number of bonds, right, that are formed by that atom, right? So simply, if you have, say, if you have, let's take this methane, right? Methane is a covalent compound. So what is the valency of carbon atom? We say covalency is equal to the number of covalent bonds formed by the atom of an element in the covalent compound. So carbon is forming 1, 2, 3, 4 covalent bonds. So covalency of carbon is 4. If someone will ask you what is the covalency of this hydrogen atom, it's 1. Why? Because it's forming only one covalent bond with this atom. Right? Similarly, covalency of other 3 hydrogen atoms is also 1 because it's only forming one covalent bond. Right? Or we can also say it's the other way, that covalency of an element is equal to the number of electrons that are shared, right, in forming electron pairs. If you see the number of electrons shared by chlorine, right, number of atoms, the number of electrons given by carbon, right, in the formation of covalent bonds or in the formation of shared pairs is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Similarly, how many electrons are given by hydrogen atom in the formation of this covalent bond? 1. So its covalency is 1. Right? So let's take another example, ammonia. Right? In this chemical compound, ammonia, nitrogen atom is forming 3 covalent bonds, right? So the covalency of nitrogen atom in ammonia is 3, right? Or the other way around is how many electrons, right, it is contributing towards the formation of shared pairs? 1, 2, 3. It's forming 3 shared, nitrogen is forming 3 shared pairs. So in each of the shared pairs it's contributing 1 electron. So how many shared pairs? 1, 2, 3. So 3 electrons. Covalency is 3. Right? So how can we define covalency? It's covalency is number of electrons contributed by atom, right, in the formation of shared pairs. In the formation of shared pairs, right? Or we may say that number of bonds formed by atom of an element, right? So now we are clear about what is your covalency, right? How to find the covalency. There is one more way to define it. It is equal to the number of singly filled orbitals. Singly filled orbitals. Right? So what do we mean by this? If we look at hydrogen atom, simple hydrogen atom, electronic configuration of hydrogen atom is 1s1. It has only one electron in the outermost shell. So here it has only one singly filled orbital, 1s orbital, which is singly filled, right, or half filled, we may say. It's singly filled or half filled. It has only one half filled orbital So 1 covalency, right? Similarly, if we talk about other atoms like nitrogen, in case of nitrogen, electronic configuration is 1s2, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1, right? So here we have 3 orbitals that are singly occupied, or 3 orbitals that are half filled, right? Half filled means 1 electron. Fully filled means 2 electrons. So these 3 orbitals these 3 orbitals are half filled. They have only 1 electron. So it is equal to the number of half filled orbitals, right? So covalency would be 3. And similarly for oxygen, 1s2, 2s2, it would be the electronic configuration of oxygen is outer electronic configuration, it's 2s2, 2p2. Let's write it this way: 2s2, 2p2, 2py1, 2pz1, right? So number of half filled orbitals 2, right? So its covalency will be 2, right? So this is one more way to define the covalency, right? Now let's see what is the second term, is your variable covalency. Right? If you remember, we did variable electrovalency also. Now variable electrovalency, if you remember, right, it was due to vacant d, or it was due to number of electrons in the d orbitals, right? So where the number of electrons can be transferred in case of variable electrovalency, right, from the d orbital. Now here it's little similar. Variable covalency is again due to the presence of vacant d orbitals, right? If you have vacant d orbitals, then electrons from s orbitals and p orbitals can be transferred to the vacant d orbitals, right? So when you transfer electrons to vacant d orbitals, it will be singly filled, singly occupied, or half filled, right? That will contribute to the variable covalency. So we will just understand by taking some examples. Variable covalency is due to the presence of vacant d orbitals, right? So will nitrogen and oxygen show variable covalency? No, because nitrogen and oxygen has only s and p orbitals. It does not have vacant d orbitals, right? So elements that do not have vacant d orbitals, so they will not show variable covalency, right? So now let's take example of some compounds like phosphorus compounds PCl3, PCl5, right? Since phosphorus can show variable covalency, right, so it can form different number of bonds with chlorine. Here it's forming 3 bonds with chlorine, here it's forming 5 bonds with chlorine, right? So due to the variable covalency of phosphorus, right, it can form 2 compounds, right? So let's look at the electronic configuration of phosphorus so that we can see the number of vacant orbitals, because in order to see covalency, first we need to see the vacant orbitals, right? So let's write down the electronic configuration. It's 3s2, 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1, right? Then we say it has vacant d orbital, 3d0. Phosphorus has a vacant d orbital, right? This is the ground state electronic configuration of phosphorus atom, right? Now we can make, since this s orbital has 2 electrons, right? So if somehow we will transfer this electron to vacant d orbital, right? So the number of vacant orbitals would be, in that case, 3s2, 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1, 3d1, right? I'm sorry, it's 1. So in this case, the number of the number of singly filled or half filled orbitals are 3, right? So this explains the valency of phosphorus as 3 in PCl3 molecule. In this case, the number of half filled orbitals are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this is we call this as excited state electronic configuration. We'll just understand why we say it at excited state, right? So 5 half filled orbitals, so covalency would be 5. In this case, in ground state electronic configuration, the covalency is 3, right? And in case of excited state configuration, covalency is 5, right? So covalency is varying, right? Depending on the number of vacant d orbitals. So we call that phosphorus shows variable covalency, right? Because of the presence of d orbital, vacant d orbital, right? That can be half filled by transferring an electron from the s orbital, right? And in order to transfer electron, we know we need energy, right? So some energy needs to be given to 3s orbital to transfer its electron to empty 3d orbital, right? So how do we get this energy? When a bond is formed, we know that bond formation is an attractive interaction, right? So when a bond is formed, energy is released, right? So that energy which is released when PCl5 molecule is formed, that energy is used to transfer the electron from 3s orbital to your 3d orbital, vacant 3d orbital, right? So that is why we call it as excited state electronic configuration, because this is under excited state, right? When phosphorus is given energy, right, from the formation of bonds, then that results into this excited state electronic configuration that has max covalency of 5, right? So this explains the concept of variable covalency, right? Now let's take another example, right, to make things more clear. Let's take the example of sulfur, right? The ground state electronic configuration of sulfur is sulfur atom, right? It's 3s2, 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1, 3d0, right? I'm sorry, it would be 3, it has 3 vacant d orbitals, and here it is 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So this is the ground state. This is the ground state electronic configuration, right? That has covalency. Covalency is equal to the number of half filled orbitals, 1, 2, right? In the first case, the maximum covalency would be, the covalency would be, covalency is 2, right? Now, we can transfer one electron from p orbital to d orbital, right? This would be 3s2, 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1, 3d1, right? Then 3d0, right? 3d0. So this is we call it as first excited state, because one electron is transferred from p orbital to vacant d orbital. This is your first excited state electronic configuration, and here the covalency would be equal to the number of half filled orbitals, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 4, right? Now this is your first excited state. There are two electrons in the s orbitals, right? So this electron can also be transferred to this vacant d orbital. It will result into 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1, 3d1, 3d1, right? So here this is your second excited state. Electronic configuration, covalency is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Right? So this clears our concept, and if you remember, we have these two compounds are known, SF4 and SF6. Sulfur tetrafluoride and sulfur hexafluoride. In sulfur tetrafluoride, the covalency is 4, right? And sulfur hexafluoride, covalency is 6, right? So when this molecule gets formed, enough energy is released that both the electrons from s and p orbitals are transferred to vacant d orbitals, resulting in the second excited state electronic configuration that has maximum of 6 orbitals that have maximum orbitals as half filled. So the half filled orbitals is equal to the covalency, which is 6, right? And there is the third thing, which is your maximum covalency. Maximum covalency is, if you look at phosphorus, its maximum covalency is maximum number of unpaired electron that can be formed, right, by transferring all the s and p orbitals electron to the vacant d orbitals. So maximum covalency represents the excited state configuration that has maximum half filled d orbitals, or that has maximum half filled orbitals, right? So like in case of sulfur, the configuration that has maximum half filled orbitals is this second excited state. It has maximum half filled orbitals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Similarly, in case of phosphorus, the maximum half filled orbitals are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So the maximum covalency represents that electronic configuration that results after the transfer of electrons from after the transfer of electrons from s and p orbitals to vacant d orbitals, right? So here maximum covalency, this is when electrons are transferred from s and p orbitals to vacant d orbitals, right? This is your maximum covalency. Maximum covalency just means maximum half filled orbitals, which we can easily see in case of phosphorus is 5, in case of sulfur it's 6, right? So I hope all this is concept of covalency, maximum covalency and variable covalency is clear. Thanks.